All right. Good morning, everyone. My name is Alicia B from Alicia B Coaches. I like to go live twice a week, Tuesday, 9 p.m. Central, Saturday morning, 9 a.m. Central. The topic today is no code tech jobs. Oh, I forgot to finish my hair. My bad. Uh, the topic today is no code tech jobs. We've already talked about why those jobs are flexible. But if you have any questions, put them in the chat. Hey, Real Jazzy. Hey, April. Hey, IG. Hey, YouTube. Any questions, put them in the chat. Other than that, I will keep going. Today's topic is about the role called business analyst and why it's a good role for someone who wants to get into tech. So, a business analyst is a role where you do not need a degree, you don't need to know how to code, but you do need to understand the different processes for whatever industry that you're in. So, a good example of this would be if you're in mortgage banking, you have to understand all the steps that it takes in order to either underwrite that loan or set up a brand new loan. Let's say you're in a different industry where you're doing sales and you're selling a product. You kind of got to know every step of the way of what it takes to sell that product. And because you know the process, then you're able to write the directions for the engineers to help them understand how to code whatever the code is. So, the qualifications that it takes to be a business analyst is they're really looking for someone who is good with talking to people, who knows how to build relationships, who knows how to negotiate. Because really, what you're doing when you're doing user requirements for projects is you need to negotiate between what that user wants to see and what those engineers can create, including a timeline. Because if you ask a user, hey, how do you want me to fix up this report? How do you want me to fix this app? Um, Most of the time, people are going to ask for everything plus an extra bucket of gold, right? And then when you say, okay, well, when do you need this by? They want it now. So as a business analyst, you have to negotiate that. You have to negotiate the time frame. You have to negotiate how much stuff engineers can deliver. So basically, engineers work in either 2 or 3 week iterations. So an iteration is it's like a time box. So they'll work 2 or 3 weeks at a time in order to build something. So as a business analyst, when you're negotiating with whoever's asking for this, number one, you have to find out exactly what it is they need, and then you need to chunk it into those 2 or 3 week time slots. And then once you chunk it, you have to tell them, hey, if you change your requirements, like let's say at first they wanted it blue and black, and now they want it purple and red, right? If you change your requirements midway, I can't promise you that we can deliver this in, oh, I lost my light. I can't promise you that we can deliver this in that same 2 to 3 week time box that we discussed, right? Because you've changed the requirements. And once you change the requirements, then you need to renegotiate the timeline. So as a business analyst, it's your job to renegotiate this timeline so that the engineers can just go do the code. Because really, engineers really like to just do the code. They don't really like to negotiate timelines and negotiate expectations. They don't want to do all that. They're like, that's the business analyst job. You do that, let me code, right? So as a business analyst, it's your job to do that negotiation. So in order to be a good business analyst, you got to know how to talk to people. You have to know how to de-escalate situations. So if that business user is asking for too much, you got to be the person to say no. So as a business analyst, your job is to block the time of block the time of your engineers, right, to help them get their work done faster. Um, the other thing about becoming a business analyst is as long as you understand what that process is for your work, then we can teach you the technical piece. So, the biggest technical piece that you need to understand is how to use the Agile project management tools. Um, Let me see if I can pin that on TikTok. Comment. So, an agile project management tool is basically the software that you use to track the work that you tell the engineers to do. Project management tool. Awesome. All right. I was able to, let's see if TikTok will let me pin. Oh, I still can't pin, but at least I can put some things in the chat. So, what you need to learn how to do is know how to use agile project management tools. And then I'll put some examples in the chat. So we're going to go with Azure DevOps is one. And then the next example is Jira. There we go. I put those both in the chat. So Jira and Azure DevOps are two of the most popular agile project management tools. So basically what the tool consists of is columns, and the columns tell you where you are in the development life cycle. So you start from the left, you move towards the right, you start from the left, you move to the right, and basically you're going from here's the work that we plan to do, here's the work that we started to do, here's the work that's in progress, here's the work that's done. Most of the agile project management tools kind of work the same. So DevOps and Jira both have those columns. And then in the column, each project is a card. So on each card, it talks about what the expectation was. Um, it talks about what the expectation was for the work, who's doing the work, any passwords that you need for the work to get done, any comments on who else needs to know about whatever this work is. So each card moves along the board. So the difference between Jira and Azure DevOps is that like Azure DevOps has one way for writing up a card, Jira has another way. But if you already know how to use Jira, then all you need to do is go on YouTube Academy, right? and watch some training videos, and then you're able to learn how to use the other tool. So generally, when you're sitting through business analyst interviews, they'll just say, "Hey, which one of these tools do you know how to use?" Right? Even if you've never used them, you can just say, I've gone to YouTube, I've watched YouTube videos, right? Azure DevOps. So Azure DevOps is a Microsoft product, sorry. So if you go to a Microsoft website and you actually look up Azure DevOps, Microsoft will let you log on for free to their website so that you can practice using the tool. So if you practice using the tool and you're in an interview, just say, hey, I've gone online to the DevOps website. I've practiced using the tool. I created my own test projects. I created my own user stories. And if you're in a job interview, whoever's hiring, they're going to be like, okay, I'm impressed. She may not have used it before, but she did enough research to go online and get in that sandbox and practice. So I want to know more about her, if that makes sense. Hello, people. Hey, Lou. Hey, 824. How is everyone today? Let's see. Am I still live on? Awesome. Something happened to my laptop, but I'm still live on YouTube. So I'm just going to keep it pushing. Hey, Roger. Hey, Andrew. Hey, down there. Good morning. If anyone has any questions, you can drop them in the chat. My name is Alicia B. Coaches. I help women with at least 5 years of work experience pivot into a technology career. The specific job that I suggest people look at is called business analyst. So, a business analyst does not need a college degree, they don't need to know how to code. In order to be a good business analyst, you have to be knowledgeable about whatever process is going on at your job, right? You have to be able to talk to people, negotiate, build relationships, and then the technical stuff, we can teach you the technical stuff. So, really, the technical stuff that we want to teach you, the technical stuff that we want to teach you is learning how to use an agile program management tool. So, some examples of a program management tool are Microsoft Azure DevOps, Jira, Rally, all of those tools. They're easy to use once you jump into it, but as long as you understand the basics when you're going through those job interviews, you just explain to that interviewer, hey, I'm trying to get into technology, I'm coming from this industry, this role, I went online, I did my research, and I know a little bit about these tools. Just give me a shot. Taylor Swift. Okay. I'm just gonna ignore trolls because I don't have any mods yet. Um, so if anybody is reading the chat, you could get some fun laughing at the trolls in the chat. Like, I don't know what to tell you. I'm just gonna keep it pushing. Hey King, hey Susan, yeah, hey Owen. So some other things about becoming a business analyst. Once you get that role, the next thing you need to do is you need to learn how to build a relationship with your developers. So a lot of that means developers really want to know that everybody on the team is pro team. So you need to attend every single meeting that the developers are in. Generally, most development teams are using Scrum, which means we have a daily meeting. Our daily meeting is about 10 to 15 minutes, and we're talking about what's on the board. So the board is how the user stories are organized. We're talking about what's on the board, who's blocked, who has some upcoming work, and each developer takes a turn just updating the team, right? The goal is really just a status meeting. It's done in 15 minutes, you keep it pushing. If you need more help or you have a blocker, then you stay for what's called the after meeting. So the after meeting is anyone that wants to talk long or has something else to say, you stay after for that, and then it's covered. So as long as the business analyst is coming to all those stand-up meetings and the business analyst is coming to the other Scrum meetings, then generally your devs will say, okay, I know AJ's trying, I know AJ's learning. When AJ's stuck, she's answering questions. Okay, AJ is cool with me, right? So as long as you're developing that good relationship with your developers, then you should have no problem, right? Because developers know if they're in good with their business analyst, they can have their business analyst go talk to the stakeholders to find out any information that the engineer is stuck on. So I can give you an example of a problem that I worked on. And once you listen to the example, then you'll understand more about what business analysis is. So I'm sitting at my desk, and this is how a team gets work. I get an email. So the email is from someone that uses a website my team created. The email is, hey, AJ, my report is broken. Okay. I'm like, great. Your report is broken. Let me call you on the phone, right? Because at this point, I need to understand, hey, Tio, hey, Larry, what do you mean by the report is broken? Is it the header? Is it the footer? Is it the title? Is it metrics, numbers on the report? Are the numbers too big, too small, running off the page, or are the numbers just flat out wrong? So I call them on the phone, ask them a few questions because, again, that's my job as the business analyst. I need to clearly identify what the actual issue is and ask anything else. The other thing I do is I tell them, hey, if your report is wrong, give me a printout of the report when it's wrong. Give me a printout of the report when it's right, right? Draw a big red circle around the stuff you think is wrong, right? So really it's exploratory, it's asking better questions to try to figure out what the actual problem is. So she says, I have two team members on my team. They both have the same first, middle, and last name, and the report isn't picking up the number of calls they make per day correctly. And I'm like, you really got somebody with the same first, middle, and that last name? So basically, when I handed it over to the engineers were like, well, yeah, because you can't use someone's social security number when you're coding. The original code for the report is to bring up each team member, and the code is assuming that you don't have any team members that have the same first, middle, and last name. So what the report would do is pick up each person on the team, start from the top with whoever had the most number of calls, put like their top number of calls of the day. Let's just say it's 60. So 60, whoever had less than 60, whoever had less than that, right? And that's how the report printed out. But since the team has multiple people with the same first, middle, and last name, what it would do is when it got to the second person, it was overwriting the first person's number, right? So now I'm talking to the developer. I'm like, okay, so clearly we need a new unique identifier. So a unique identifier is a way to identify somebody without using their social security number, right? Because we can't use that. It's considered PII, personally identifiable information. PII, personally identifiable information. So instead of that, hey King, how are you? Instead of social security number, we could use employee ID number. So employee ID number is another unique identifier that companies give employees, right? So now the engineer is going to tell that report, hey, don't use first, middle, and last name because people could have the same first, middle, and last name. Instead, use the employee ID, right? Go find the employee ID, print out first, middle, last name, print out the number of calls, go to the next person in that team, right? So once the engineer finished the code, then of course I had to go create some fake employees, right? Because it's my job to test the fix to make sure the fix actually fixed the problem. So I got to create some test data, same first, middle, and last name, put them on the same team. We run the report on my little test data to make sure it's fixed, right? It looks fixed to me. So then we go and put it in production. And then I go call up the original person that called me, yo, we put your fix in. Go ahead, run your report. Let me know what you think, right? And again, I would check up with them probably like the day after the fix and then a week after. And then after that, hey, if it's broken, you got to let me know because I'm not going to go check. So that's an example of a problem that I had to work on as a business analyst. Any other questions? Drop them in the chat. Hey, IG. Hey, TikTok. Hey, YouTube. Any YouTube questions? Drop them in the chat. And then, other than what a business analyst does, let's see, what else can I cover today? So, I guess I could tell you a little bit about where all my free content is. I have a website. Let me type my website in the chat. It's also link in bio. All right, comment. All right. My website is Alicia B like Bumblebee Coaches.com. On my website, I do have some free articles about Agile, about working on tech teams. And then I also have a Patreon. So my Patreon has a free download, patreon.com. Alicia B Coaches. Mhm. Awesome. So my Patreon has a free download, which is an ebook, and the ebook covers all the topics that I talk about in my lives. And at the very end of the ebook is a whole page of resources. The resources are great places for you to find out more information about um, business analysts as a job, more information on different organizations that you can follow to learn more about business analysts, learn more about pivoting into the tech space. What else is on that resources page? The organizations. Um, oh, and there's some information about project management. So, project management is another role that you can do in technology without needing a degree and without learning how to code. So, there are some resources for project management. I like my business analyst roles better than my project management roles, but we can talk a little bit about what a project manager does, and then we can wrap up for the day. So, on my Patreon page, if you go to collections, under collections, there's a box that says free content. Inside of free content, there is a PDF, and the PDF is a free download. Um, Feel free to share it with your friends. Read it. Have fun. The other spaces on my Patreon are just a membership. Like there's a basic membership and advanced membership. If you want to learn more about how to become a business analyst or more about how to use those agile project management tools, it's called Azure DevOps or ADO, Azure Dev, like development ops, or ADO, like the first letter of each, or JIRA. I'm teaching that. I used to teach classes on Meetup, but having the monthly membership is way easier because I just hop in the membership, go live on Zoom, send the Zoom out, start talking, and then I save those videos, leave those in the membership. So if you missed a video, you just go in the membership and watch it. You can be a member for 1 month, watch all the videos, and be done with it. It's just way easier to do the membership thing. So I'm kind of pushing people towards the membership thing. I did have, excuse me, I did have a lot of requests when I was doing Meetup of people wanting to spend time with me one on one. They just didn't like the membership. They didn't like the group. I'm like, fine. So I went and I threw a like a VIP purchase option. So instead of the membership plan, if you want to work with me, you can buy, it's just blocks of time, like an hour and a half for some amount of money. And it's just me, you, my Zoom, whatever your issue is, we just work on it for an hour and a half. So that's in my Patreon. So I did my website with the articles. Patreon has that free download and the membership. And then I also have a YouTube channel. My YouTube channel has videos of my live events. And I think I have two classes on YouTube. One is probably like software development life cycle, and the other one might be the difference between a project manager and a business analyst. So yeah, that's my info. All of my links, I have link in bio. Bare minimum, the website is up in the bio, but if you go to the website, it'll tell you it'll tell you what's in the website. So articles like a blog, and then it'll tell you about the Patreon and tell you about the YouTube. So I got website, Patreon, YouTube. That's it. And then I go live twice a week, Saturday mornings, 9 a.m. Central, Tuesday night, 9 p.m. Central. Let's hop back into what a project manager does, and then we'll wrap up for the morning because it's already a quarter to 10, and I do have another call at 10, and I want to try to get some breakfast in before my next call. So, when I'm on projects and I'm a project manager, instead of being the person that negotiates the work, I'm the person that's like making sure that people that are two levels up from the work understand what's being done. So, as a project manager, I'm not working directly with developers, but I do work with that business analyst. So, I would go to the business analyst and say, okay, all right, business analyst, I need to know what work your team is doing for the next 8 weeks. You tell me what that work is for the next 8 weeks. I'm going to put it in a roadmap. So, a roadmap is like a visual picture in time of when this work is going to be done. So, we put it in the roadmap. Not only do I work with team A, I work with team B, team C, team D. So now I work with four teams. I know what their 8 week roadmap is for those four teams. And then I'm putting it into one solid visual, right? So, in addition to their work, at the bottom of this visual that I'm creating, which more than likely is going to be in PowerPoint, at the bottom of that visual, I'm going to put the financials. So the financials are for each of those teams, how many people are on those teams, and how much do we pay those people. So basically, it's like your salary broken down into hours, broken down into that 8 week block, right? So, how much we paid y'all, right? Versus what was the dollar value of the thing you're trying to deliver within the 8 weeks. So now we have the roadmap on the top. What are those four teams doing? At the bottom on the left, how much money we pay those people. At the bottom on the right, what's the dollar value of the stuff that they created? And now that I have that on one visual, so imagine if that's one PowerPoint slide, then I pass it to someone else on my team that goes into some meeting, right, with people that are 3, 4, 5 levels above us. And in that meeting, they're like, okay, what is Team Snowflake doing? Then that work person stands up, they got a laser pointer. They're pointing to their one PowerPoint slide, and then they just talk for 10 minutes, giving a status update of what that big team is doing. And honestly, that's what a project manager does. So to me, it sounds boring, right? But it's not boring. And the reason why it's not boring is because it's actually kind of difficult to summarize the work for a team that you're not actually on, right? Because then that person in that leadership meeting is asking you questions. Oh, why are they blocked? Why is it taking them so long to do this? Have they da 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 da? So basically, you kind of have to sit down, analyze the information that you're going to present, right? And try to predict what those high level leaders are going to ask you about all those teams' work, right? So, as a project manager, once you go to that business analyst and you get all that information, right, you go and create your whole 1 page type of thing. You really need to go back to those teams, kind of show them the 1 page thing and say, okay, are you sure this is the information that you want me to present to leadership? Have you thought about da 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 da? So whatever you think those leadership people are going to ask you, you need to predict that and ask those teams that stuff so that when it gets to be your turn to stand up to talk about it, you have answers to those questions that they're about to ask you. If that makes sense. Um, I probably got like a few more minutes. Hi, Tim. Hi, Cassandra. Hi, the Greeniest. Hi, Markson. Hi, Stronger Heart today. If anyone has any questions, throw them in the chat. If you're on TikTok, tap me some hearts, share out the live. Hey IG, hey TikTok, hey YouTube. Hey person that's been hanging out with me for the last 20 minutes. If you have any questions, there's a few minutes left. You can go ahead and drop them in the chat. I'll wait a little bit. Hey, I can't think right now, Seven. Your username sounds familiar. If you have any questions, drop them in the chat. If there's anything else you'd like me to cover, put it in my DMs and I'll try to cover it on the next live. So again, I'm Alicia B of Alicia B Coaches. I help women with at least 5 years of work experience pivot into a technology role. The reason why I want women to be in this technology role is because the jobs are flexible. It's more money than you were making in whatever process driven environment you were doing, and work from home is an opportunity there. Uh, the reason why work from home is an opportunity is that I would say at least 20% of every team I've worked with over the past 10 years, 20% of those people did not live in the United States. So when you're working with people that don't live in the United States, it's not as crucial for you to drive into an office 5 days a week. I do know people that are not 100% work from home, but they're working from home at least 3 days a week, right? Because they know that it kind of doesn't make a lot of sense for you to get in a car, drive someplace 5 days a week, open up a laptop to talk to somebody that's in Europe. Like, y'all in Europe. You might as well stay home if you're going to open up a laptop, talk to somebody in Europe. What do I mean? So, because you're working with people that are in other countries, what tends to happen is whatever time zone that the headquarters of that company is in, let's say it's Eastern. If they're in the Eastern time zone, then the rule is you can schedule meetings anytime between 7 a.m. Eastern and noon Eastern. So, whatever time 7 a.m. to noon Eastern is, um, all right, I don't understand that question. Maybe rewrite the question, John, and then I can answer it. So, whatever time it is in Europe or India, that's the time that you have to be available for meetings. So that anyone that's in Central Time, you basically have to log on between 7 a.m. and noon. And after that, your time is your own. So what I mean by your time is your own is it's up to you to finish whatever work that you have planned for the day, right? Um, you don't have to be logged in. No one is looking for you outside of the 7 a.m. to noon time frame. Hey, fun bags. Okay, cool. It was just a troll. So that's what I mean by tech jobs are flexible because, again, if it's afternoon, you got to go get kids from school. You got to take your grandma to the doctor. You need to just run to the grocery store, get some stuff, prep dinner, right? You can do that between noon and 3, your own time. And then after 3, you can hop back on your computer, put in 3 more hours worth of work, and then you're done for the day. Any more questions? Hey, nah, homie. Thank you for joining my live today. I'm gonna go ahead, sign off. I hope you guys have a good rest of your of your weekend, and I will see you next time. My next live is Tuesday night, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. And again, if you want more information on the topics that I cover in my lives. They are on my Patreon page. So it's patreon.com/Alicia B Coaches. Then go to collections, free content, and the PDF is called Off the Cuff Notes from AJ's Live. So those are the notes. See you guys next time. In life and IG. And now we are going to end YouTube.